Gents, welcome back, and today we have the new C63 AMG. Now I know what you're thinking, yes, this car does not have the V8 anymore. However, what Mercedes has attempted to do to try and compensate is they've introduced an electric motor, and combined this now produces 671 bhp. 607, that's just an absolutely insane amount of power. That's more than an M3, more than Audi R8, more than half the Lamborghini lineup. It's just a crazy amount of power to have in a four-door luxury saloon. So we're going to take this out and see what that feels like. It's a pretty nice day, the roads are looking dry. Let's do this. So just in terms of the interior, first of all, I mean, one of the first things you notice, the seats are pretty crazy. You can literally adjust every single possible part of the seat, which is pretty crazy. It's got this side bolsters that hold you in super tight. It's got this weird seat kinetics thing as well, which sort of like a massage, but it moves the seat around. But yeah, it's a nice place to sit. There's about 50,000 controls on the steering wheel, but you slowly get used to them. You got the main screen up there, another screen down here, and loads of ambient lighting, which is really nice at night time especially. The seats are, yeah, pretty cool. They're not ventilated unfortunately, but they are heated. Carbon fiber on the dash. It's a nice place to be honest. Anyway, let's fire this hybrid 670 bhp engine up and see what it sounds like. That's it. That's literally it. Like, it's ready to drive right now, just to show you. There's just no sound at all, which is slightly embarrassing. Imagine getting into this C63 AMG that looks like an absolute monster in a car park, and everyone's waiting for the rumble, and you start it up and it's just complete silence. But anyway, this is what we're dealing with now. Obviously that was in full electric mode. You can put it into Sport Plus, and we've got the 2-litre 4-cylinder engine, which it's never going to sound as good as the V8, so I'm not even going to compare it to that. But just as a standalone thing, yeah, for a 2-litre engine it sounds pretty good. They've added all the little burbles and everything. It's just really weird sitting in this car and not hearing the V8, but there you go. I forgot to mention there is a sunroof, which is quite nice, so we'll open that up for today. And anyway, let's see what all this power is about and see if it compensates for the lack of the V8. I'm gonna go in Sport Plus today, and manual. The engine is of course already warm, so let's go. Oh my god. Okay. This is an absolute insane amount of power. I'm not joking, my head is literally slamming into the back of the seat every time I press the throttle. Whew, okay, let's just oh, that is crazy. Wow, that is ridiculous. It is just absolutely brutal, and I think that as soon as you put your foot down, the electric motor comes in first, and then the petrol engine comes in, and combined, you know what, let's just go into full-on race mode, why not? Just see. Oh, what? That is pretty crazy, man. That is pretty crazy. As soon as you put your foot down, the electric motor gives you that initial torque, and then it leads into the petrol engine. but it's just, I mean, whoa. Yeah, that is ridiculously fast. The brakes feel a little bit soft, but steering actually feels quite nice. And in this setting with the suspension, actually handles pretty well. Four-wheel drive now, which I think you definitely need with the amount of power that they've put into this, so probably a good thing just for traction reasons. I mean, that's uphill there, full throttle pretty much, and literally no traction issues at all. Just ridiculous, like you know what, you can't get bored of doing that, but just brutal acceleration. The torque is just on another level. It's quite nice having that sunroof as well, get quite a bit more light in the cabin. But yeah, even in this race mode, which is like the most aggressive mode, suspension actually feels quite poised. It doesn't feel super stiff, but at the same time it feels very well put together. And then you just plant it and it absolutely sends you to another dimension. Sound is obviously, it's a little bit underwhelming. It doesn't sound sounds a little bit artificial. I'm assuming it's probably got some actuation playing through the speakers, so yeah, it just doesn't sound the same as having a proper V8 there. But I'm just pretty impressed by the performance, man. So the four-cylinder 2-litre engine, they managed to get 469 bhp out of it, which I think is the most powerful 2-litre engine, 4-cylinder engine in the world currently. 469 bhp just from there, and then they've got 201 bhp from the electric motor, and that's where you get the combined 671. But yeah, the performance is definitely there. And in this setting, the handling's pretty good as well. You can definitely feel the weight of the car because it weighs over 2 tons because of all the hybrid system and whatnot. So that's definitely noticeable. For a car that weighs this much, I'm actually surprised how well it handles. Oh god, yeah, that's a lot of power. Gearbox is really responsive. It's an MCT 9-speed gearbox, but the only thing I have a problem with is, even in comfort and in sport or slightly some of the softer settings, it's really clunky from first to second. Like, Let's say we're in sport, I'll put it back in automatic, and I'll just show you if I'm setting off normally and just medium throttle, you'll see from first to second gear there's always, see that? There's always a noticeable jerk, which is just really frustrating. If you're driving around town, you can always feel that jerk. Anyway, let's try and do a 0 to 60. Okay. I don't know how fast that was, but it felt absolutely ridiculous. You know what, I might just do that again, because that was a little bit crazy. Alright, left on the brake, slam the throttle, race start, release brake. Wow, that is some serious acceleration. Okay, we're gonna just calm down a little bit now and talk about some of the things that I don't really like or are a bit annoying. So let's just go back into some normal driving modes. Yeah, in terms of the interior, I mean, it is nice. There's a lot of things I like about it. I really like the ambient lighting, I like the sunroof. This middle screen feels a little bit cheap sometimes, like it's got huge bezels around it, the plastic behind it feels really cheap. For some reason, this part of the screen, the bezel, gets incredibly hot, which is strange. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that screen. Even the main one, it's okay. Again, huge bezels, all these rounded bits just make it feel a bit, I don't know, 2007 or something. It just doesn't feel like I'm driving a 2024 car. This system itself, I'm not a huge fan of. It can just be really weird to navigate. It's not that responsive. It kind of glitches out a lot. It's got some cool features on it, but yeah, it's not my my preference really in terms of car systems. I think the BMW iDrive system is much better, and even in Audis it's a lot simpler to use as well. So I'm not a huge fan of it, but there you go. One thing I will say, there's a lot going on the steering wheel. There's loads of controls. It takes a while to get used to. Once you do though, because you've got all this here, there's no middle stalk or anything, and because you've got the gears on a stalk as well, it means that you can actually free up a lot of space in the middle here, which I do like. Some other weird things, these handles, there's no end bit to it, kind of sticks out, but it just makes it feel, I don't know, a little bit flimsy sometimes. The plastics down here feel a bit cheap. Aside from those though, generally it's pretty nice. Everything's a solid build quality. These paddle shifters are really nice. They feel really solid. And again, the steering in this is actually quite responsive, and it doesn't feel overly electronic like it was in the BMW M2. So yeah, quite nice. The vents are really cool as well. They feel really premium, and everything's got ambient lighting under it. So again, really nice at night time. Something that has suffered though is the boot space because of the electric motor. Let me just show you this quickly. Pull up over here, and I'll show you what's happened as a result of the electric motors. So if you can see, ignore some of this rubbish, it's very shallow first of all, and then there is a huge bump here, which is probably due to the motors. So yeah, from the boot it doesn't really dig down. You don't get much space in terms of depth on it, and and then you also get that bump up there as well. So not the biggest boot, to be honest. The electric charging ports on this side, you can see there, and obviously petrol on the other side. But yeah, it's quite a nice looking car. I'm not a huge fan of black. I think in blue this would look really nice, but yeah. Actually a really interesting sound. It doesn't sound like a typical 2-litre engine. This is the 2-litre engine from the A45S. Obviously they've dialed it up a bit because there's a huge turbocharger on it. You can actually hear the turbo quite well if you've got the windows down, but I think it's all that artificial noise that gives it a slightly weird sound. It just, yeah, there's just not much actual substance, and they've tried to just add all this extra flair to it, but I don't know. In terms of the power, I'm kind of struggling to see where Mercedes have tried to position this, because this produces so much power now. It's more power than the previous E63 AMG, and I know they are bringing a new one out which is going to have, I think, almost 800 bhp or 700 or something like that, and it's going to be a similar setup with a hybrid engine. But now the C63 producing almost 700 bhp feels like it's kind of just priced out the E-Class, so I'm not really sure exactly what they're doing there. And again, this has got loads of space, comfortable inside. It's also 4-wheel drive now as well, so would you buy an E63 when you can get this significantly cheaper? I don't know. It just seems like a strange thing that they've done. Yeah, the brakes, for some reason, it's got the stopping power, but it feels like you have to press the pedal quite hard. It's not as sensitive as I'd like it to be. I've tried to change the settings, but it doesn't seem to have as much bite, so you do have to press quite hard for it to stop as quickly as you'd like. Check the engine temperature. Yep, everything's nice and toasty. These touch capacitive buttons are, I mean, they're a bit weird. They're kind of physical buttons, and you can also swipe, but it doesn't always work, as you just saw there. So yeah, they're okay. I mean, you got your cruise control on the right side, volume controls on the left. Just had to stop to cool the GoPro down because it started to overheat. But good opportunity just to show you the parking cameras, which are actually really good quality. So you can see here, you can see my little microphone at the back there, but it's also got some crazy modes where you can see the whole car. So look here. Check that one. That's literally live. Like if I turn the steering wheel, yeah, that is just absolutely mental. You can look at any side of the car and see exactly where you're going. I'm surprised you can't see me sat inside with my GoPro on. But yeah, the cameras are really cool. It's also got this like traffic light mode. So that's the front. Yeah, that's the front camera at the bottom of the car. There is also a camera up here as well. And you can, when you stop at the lights, it shows you the traffic lights, which is a bit weird, but I suppose it's useful if you can't see the lights yourself. But yeah. But yeah, anyway guys, apart from that, it's been quite a good daily driver car as well, and pop it in electric and off you go. And you can see if you put it in Sport Plus or race mode, just because of the way you drive and the regenerative braking, it actually generates power back to the electric battery. So right now the electric motor is sitting at 100%, so we could get in some traffic, pop it into electric mode, and good to go, to be honest, because we've got a few miles of range built up. But yeah, it's an interesting car, loads of power, the handling is pretty decent. It just doesn't have that same character because the V8's gone, the soundtrack isn't the same. It's just, yeah, it's the way things are going. But I think really what C63s are known for was the V8, and if they just kept the V8 and added the hybrid motor, then this would have truly been a proper upgrade and a true C63 AMG. But I feel like they maybe should have rebranded slightly if they were coming down to this 4-cylinder engine with an electric motor, and maybe done a slightly less power and not branded it as being the you know, the C63 AMG. But there you go. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.